Now that we've seen what goes into that foundation before it's poured, let's go out and actually see the concrete being placed in there. Let's see the finishing process, and so right up to the point where you can walk on that foundation.
Okay, here we are. We're going to go over to a home that's now set up to be poured for concrete. In fact, they're pouring it this morning, but we're going to be able to catch some things going on in the foundation. First of all, you remember me, I talked to you a little bit about the beams that they put in the middle of the foundation and around the perimeter of the foundation. This is the structural element of the home. It's what supports the weight of the home, the brick, the framing, and the concrete that's in between is just to have a walking surface on. So the beams, the depth of the beams, the width of the beams is all contingent upon the quality of the soil that's at the home site. And there's tests done on every single home to make sure that we know what those beams are done, that they're properly engineered. So you can see the beams, they run all the way through the perimeter of the foundation as well as weaved in between. After they've established the beams, they take dirt and they build up these pads. And these pads are going to be what's going to support the concrete for the floor. They use some special dirt called cushion sand to build this thing up, to get it so it's the right depth, because we want about a 4-inch thick foundation on top of these pads to support the flooring and the rest of the framing. So after they put these pads in, they're going to come in and they're going to lay this plastic on top of all the pads and down into the beams. It's a 6 mil thick plastic, and the purpose of the plastic is to keep water from coming up through the foundation into the home. So you'll see it's run all the way over the entire foundation, down into the beams, so this is a protecting factor. After they've got the pads fully covered with plastic, they're going to come in and lay in these cables. These are called post-tension cables, and there's really 2 ends to the cable. There's one end down here that's called the dead end, and it is secured to the foundation. And you'll see there's a big metal plate right here at the dead end. That's because when they pour the concrete in here, and after it's cured, they're going to pull a tension on these cables to make the foundation solid and to prevent it from shifting independently from one side to the other. And this big block of steel, when they pull it, is going to prevent it from pulling through the foundation. The other thing you're going to see is there's a sleeving on all of these cables. The cables are lubricated and there's sleeving on them. The sleeving is there for 2 purposes. One is that once that concrete's set, they want that cable to be able to move freely when they pull tension on it. And the second is to protect the cable from some of the chemicals that are in the concrete while it's curing. The other part of the cable is called the live end, and it comes through the form board that we talked about earlier. And basically you can see the sleeveless cable on this side of the form board. And what's going to happen is after the concrete is cured for a couple of weeks and the form boards are removed, they're going to come in with a device, a machine that's going to pull tension on this cable. And there's a little cone behind this form board here that's going to give a little cavity where they're going to put that machine in there and they're going to pull pressure on this cable to the tune of about 30 or 35,000 pounds per square inch. And so by doing that, they're going to create a tension in that foundation that it's going to make it one uniform slab foundation that will move with the movement of the soil. They also include in these cables these chairs. These little plastic things are called chairs. They're basically to hold the cable up so concrete can get underneath them so that the cable is actually centered in the concrete for when they pull the tension. All right, now these guys are pouring some concrete back on, so let's step around this way and see what's going on. After they've got the cables in, the plastic's in, and everything's ready, then they're going to come back and do some final form work. They're going to put in some wood here for the brick ledge, so that there's a place to place that brick. They're going to put out the form boards for the covered patio over here. They're going to define the garage a little bit more because you have to have a slope on the garage. So they're going to come in and do some additional framing work before they pour. As you can see, they're already placing the concrete for the foundation of this home. You have trucks here in the background that bring in the concrete. It's called ready mix. The concrete is actually a mixture. It's a mixture of sand, gravel, Portland cement, water, and then some other minor ingredients that constitute the mix. They come in these trucks, they're moving because they're keeping that material churning so it doesn't set up prematurely. These days, it wasn't always this way, but the prevailing way of doing this now is to bring in a pump truck to load the concrete in, and they actually pump it over to the place that they want to place it. And you can see the concrete coming out of the chute, out of the pump tube there, and they move it around and place the concrete where they want it. It makes it for a very consistent placement. It does very little damage to the cables and to the poly in there. It's really a superior way to place concrete rather than just pulling the trucks up and pouring it out or trying to bring it in by wheelbarrow. It's just going to be a lot more effective way to do it. What we see going on here, this gentleman is operating what we call a bull float. And the purpose of the bull float is, first of all, to give it that final smooth finish before they come in with the actual power trowels. The other purpose is it's going to drive the aggregate, the stone, to be just below the surface of the concrete, because we don't want the aggregate exposed above, because then you'll get a rough surface on this concrete.
If you have any more questions about M Street Homes, feel free to contact us at the number on the screen or go to the Contact Us tab at the website and send us an email, and we'll respond as quickly as possible to any questions you might have. Thanks again.